Hello, everybody. It's Sarah, and I'm out here in the cold in my car between Christmas errands to come to you live with why other people believe their lies. And lots of reasons. One, there's a lovely conversation called confirmation bias, which means that people choose to believe what is the least effort on their part to believe. Okay, it's just easier to believe the government will take care of us, so we don't have to worry about it. It's easier to believe that my dad's a really good person. It's easier to believe that my kid's not doing drugs. It's easier to believe whatever. Okay, so if you, because my guess is when you come to them and say the people you're coming to who are not believing you, maybe it's their family, maybe it's their close friends, and you just think, gosh, if I could just get them to believe me, they would talk to them and it would fix something, it would help something, it would change something, okay? And unfortunately, those people probably have confirmation bias, which means they don't want to believe the truth about the person, their family member. If it's a parent, they may have a lot of denial, right? And guilt surrounding the situation. Or if it's a friend or sibling, they don't want to believe it because then it's going to require them to do something. Okay? They're close enough to the person where if you said, hey, he's abusive and he's throwing things around my house and he's doing this and he's lying about this and he's cheating about this, and it's like, oh, I don't want to believe that, right? They don't want to believe that. And so confirmation bias, right? And it's so frustrating, especially if you've had a toxic person involved, like in a religious group, or in a business, like a toxic coworker, and you go and you try to get help. You go and you say, gosh, look, this is what's happening. Here's three things they're doing, and you won't believe what's happened. And because of that confirmation bias, because they don't want to do anything about it, it's just easier for them not to believe you. Now, some people are just uneducated on this topic, and when you say, oh my gosh, they're like Jekyll and Hyde, they act like this one way and act totally different when it's just us and the two of us are alone. And those people, it's just like hard to wrap their brain around, just like it was hard for you to wrap your brain around at first, right? It's like, gosh, surely this could not be the same person. If they act really good here, surely they're a good person. So that other piece of them, the ugly piece of them, must not really be who they are, must not really be true. So when you come to me and you say, oh no, this is happening, this is who they really are, they only believe the version that they have seen, right? And so they don't really believe the bad stuff. They don't really believe that the version you have seen, okay? And again, it's because it would require effort on their part. Some of it with these people, they may be really good, kind, loving, and giving people, just like you were, and they're like, gosh, that just can't be true, because it's so hard to imagine somebody who acts so good in some situations could act so poorly in other situations. They only see from their own perspective, just like you only see from your own perspective. And if they would never behave two different ways, then it's hard for them to believe that the toxic person can be living that double life. And the other category is people who are abusive themselves, right? They're toxic themselves, they're controlling themselves, and they want to keep the cover up going. They want to keep the fact that, oh no, just keep quiet about that. Just keep quiet about that. Because if you expose one toxic person, then it puts ideas in the head of the people who are also with toxic people, and it starts to create this domino effect, right? Like, oh, they must, Sarah said that this person was doing this and this and this. That really sounds like, hi Destiny, that really sounds like my coworker. That really sounds like my mother. That really sounds like my sister. That really sounds like my best friend. And you start to put the facts together and the information together and realize something is very, very wrong, and it's probably not your fault, which is what people have been telling you. So if you are trying to convince another toxic person that someone else is toxic, they can absolutely see things that you cannot see. They can absolutely see that bad behavior and that manipulation, because toxic people are really good at picking out to other toxic people, but they don't want you to see it, and they don't want it to be true, and they don't want you to start telling people how to recognize toxic people, because then it's going to create problems in their own life. one of the biggest advocates for toxic people are people who chose to stay with someone who's toxic, or chose to align with a parent who's toxic, or chose to stay with an organization that's toxic, and they want to justify their own decisions and remain in their own denial, and they do not want to hear the truth. They want to they have figured out a way to survive in that toxic situation. Maybe not thrive, right? Because no one thrives in a toxic situation. But that person has figured out how to survive in a toxic situation. And so when you start saying, hey, this is what toxic looks like, this is what toxic means, this is what toxic can show up like, this is how toxic can hurt you. And if they have been, or I can't take it anymore, I can't take the toxicity anymore. And if that person has chosen to stay in a toxic situation, they are going to fight you to stay too, because they want to defend their own decisions, which is not about you at all and about your well-being at all. I have a article that I wrote about when your friend chooses your ex that I can post in these in the comment section, which has to do a lot more with people than just your ex. It's about defending toxic people's lies. So, 1, confirmation bias. They don't want to deal with your problems, so it's easier to believe that it's not toxic. 2, they are toxic themselves, right? And they don't want you to start telling people, they don't want you to start unearthing toxic behavior. 3, they're being fooled too, right? They're being fooled too. And 4, they have chosen to stay in a toxic situation, and they want to remain in that toxic situation and want to defend their own decisions. So if you are dealing with any of those people, those types of people, and are trying to convince them to believe you rather than the toxic person, you're probably spinning your wheels on energy, wasting a lot of energy, a lot of time. It is going to be much healthier and better for you to find people who will believe you. In the book, 5 Types of People Who Can Ruin Your Life, he says to, and I think this is great. This is great advice. Gosh, can't think of it. The great advice is to say, I think this person may have maybe high conflict. Okay, don't use the word narcissist. Don't use the word crazy. Don't use the word sociopath. Don't use the word bipolar. Don't use any of those things. Borderline personality disorder. Okay, that I have some concerns that this person is a high conflict personality. Okay, that's easier for people to get than even abusive. Okay, so if you say, I think I'm involved with a person of a high conflict personality, here are 3 things they do, and here's some examples of times that has happened, because that person is going to be thinking, oh my gosh, what's happening? I don't want to deal with this. Here we are. There are people out there that can help you, but you want to find someone with ears to hear. Do not spend all your time and energy on people who do not have ears to hear, because it doesn't matter how eloquently you speak, they do not have the ears to listen. But if you find someone with the ears to listen, hey, I'm with someone, I think they're, a really high conflict personality. Here are 3 things, they blame me for everything. Here are 5 examples. I feel like they're losing their anger often, throwing things, saying insulting things to me. 3, they're living a bit of a double life. They can turn on and off their anger depending on who's around. Examples like that, and you can, there's all kinds of endless examples about what a toxic person means. But when you describe them as a high conflict personality, 3 reasons you think they're a high conflict personality, and then maybe 3 examples of each reason, that's going to be a lot easier to open someone's ears and to see if they have ears to hear, rather than, I just read this article on narcissism, and this person, I think they're a sociopath, and this person, that's going to be harder for you. Okay, make your job as easy as possible and spend your energy on people who have the ears to hear. Hope that helps, and I hope you have a great day. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye.